Hello everyone, welcome to Diary of a Farmer's Daughter. So today I want to talk about an experiment that I conducted during my first cycle of catfish production. Okay, so like I already explained in one of my videos, I had my first set of catfish in 2 batches. Alright, so having sorted it, these arrived in a space of 4-5 days in between, so I didn't get them both on the same day. Alright, so having arrived, the first thing I did was to do, so they had this general treatment. I needed to see, compare studies I had researched on. I had researched a few things and I needed to see what the results were going to be like if I followed. So I chose 2 particular persons, prominent persons in the catfish farming industry. I followed their pattern on feeding. I wanted to try something. I didn't try it to the end though. I tried it up to a certain stage just to see how it would all go. Okay, so what I did with my fish, I selected 2 sets from the 2 sets I'd gotten. I had 2 batches, so from one batch I took 1 set, from the other batch I took 1 set, making it 2 sets that I used for this particular study. Now generally for all the fish I had on the farm in that first cycle of production, I had done a general feeding for them, general same feeding, same treatment. Yeah, so they initially all started on 1.8 mm general, every one of them, and then 2 mm foreign feed. We started that one off with them on 2 mm foreign feed. They started taking that on the 29th of December, so basically 9 days after they started off. So that was for all of them. Right, at this point I then shared them, selected the 2 groups I wanted for these experimental studies. It wasn't something that was pre-planned, no, it's just something I got up and said, okay, let's try this out and see what the results would be like, if it will favor me or not. I was ready to learn and it was a small set of fish, so why not? Okay, so after the 2 mm I placed 1 set on 3 mm foreign. After the 2 mm foreign 2 mm, I placed 1 set on foreign 3 mm. That was on the 13th of January. Okay, so they were taking the foreign 3 mm. The other set continued with 2 mm local. After they were done with 2 mm foreign, I introduced them, let them continue with 2 mm local. So they just carried on with the 2 mm local. All right, now on the 12th, I moved both of them. When I compared the growth for the ones that had been doing 3 mm foreign, they had taken 3 mm foreign 3 bags, and the other ones were still on 2 mm local. So I then placed them both on the 12th of February. I placed them both on 3 mm local. Okay, so I was comparing growth. I compared the growth. Now let me quickly state that the second batch that I had after the first batch of fish, if you watch my videos you see where I stated this, they were a lot smaller than the first batch. My surprise was in this study they caught up really quick. They were catching up quick in growth and everything. So this set, I allowed them eat the 3 mm local, you know, from that 12th when I introduced them. So the 2 sets were eating 3 mm local, just going on like that until 13th of March when I introduced 4 mm into their feed. Now the 4 mm, I mixed it with the 3 mm a bit initially to introduce. I did the same thing also for 6 mm. Now here's the good thing about it, what I found out. These 2 sets, the other set that I said was significantly smaller, that I had kept on 2 mm for a long time, that particular set did very well, and they caught up a lot with the other set that were relatively bigger than them. So for me, the studies showed that I could go ahead, start them off. I learned what I needed to learn. From that particular study. And one of the things is, there's a lot of hype about the foreign feed. If you feed properly and use quality feed, you should not have a problem. I'm not down rating foreign feed, not at all. I used it. I even became very creative. If you watch the video very well, you see that at a point I became very creative in my use of the feed. I used it for both sets and they did well. These 2 sets, that's not to say that I neglected the other sets of fish, not at all, or the other sets that came in the same group, not at all. They were given the same treat, they were still being fed normal, with the same way I fed the one that continued with the local 2mm. Was the same treatment I gave to those ones. But I just want to say that because I used the fast shooters, that's what I did. I used the fast shooters, or the first shooters as they call them. Those were the sets I used for this particular experiment. Now they did very well, whether because they were first shooters, whether because of the feed that I gave. But I discovered that the one that had 3mm foreign, that I fed with 3mm foreign, placed immediately on 3mm foreign, I want to believe that even the other one that I gave 2mm for a longer period did very well, because they were smaller and they caught up quickly with the other set. These 2 sets of fish, I must say, were the ones that actually gave me the target weight that I wanted early. So from this fish I had 1.5, I had 1 point plus kg from this particular set of fish. My analysis is there. I wrote it. I've given that video before. So for me, it was a good learning curve. I learned from there. And well, I don't know if this analysis helps anybody, but just trying to document my journey so far, so I have something later to refer to. Okay, so this is what I did, is how I used it, and I think I learned what I needed to learn from there. Now going forward, I don't see myself investing a lot of money in foreign feed. Am I saying I won't use it? No, I will use it. I will use the foreign feed. Am I saying they are too expensive? Yeah, you're thinking of the economy, you're thinking of the price of production, how you can bring production costs down so that you'll be able to sell your fish at a relatively good price where you make profit. The essence of doing the business at the end of the day is to make profit. So we need to be wise. This was the essence of my study. I wanted to see for myself what the hype was about and what's going on, and then to know if it works or if it doesn't work. I'll be able to find out for myself, and I've done that. Okay, so that's the result from my experiment, and thank you very much. So I hope this one helps somebody. If you like what you've watched and you've learned something from this, do share, like.